Good morning. I am doing it. I can't believe it. This is my fourth live stream that I've done, and it was a challenge I gave myself to live stream every day up to my book launch day, which is Tuesday. So here we are at Thursday, which means we have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 5 more. And I'm talking about courage today, and I thought that was ironic because I actually feel sick in my stomach every time I do a live. Right before I go on, I feel sick in my stomach because it's just so weird to know that I'm broadcasting myself publicly and people watch it. So thank you for watching. I am reminded of a story from when I was in grade 2 and I was a new kid at school, and I had never played kissing tag before. In fact, I don't know. It was just something I was like, oh, I'm not going to play kissing tag. But as a new girl at a new school and no friends and no one to talk to on break, I'm walking around the schoolyard, and a little girl from my class comes up to me and says, "Do you want to play kissing tag?" And I was just so happy to be invited to play. So I thought, oh, okay, I will. And I went running and trying to catch the guy to kiss him, but I wasn't actually going to try and catch him, but I was just glad to be part of the game. And while I was doing that, these older kids, they all looked a little bit older than me, started yelling at me and saying, "You're disgusting. You're playing kissing tag. What's wrong with you?" And I didn't know who they were or anything. I kind of slowed down my running and I kind of like started to walk away from these kids, but they came up to me and surrounded me. There was probably about 5 or 6 of them, boys and girls. And they surrounded me and they were like punching their hands. And they're like, "You shouldn't play kissing tag. That's disgusting." And, I can't remember what they were saying, but I knew that I was going to get beat up, or at least I believed I was going to get my ass kicked. And I just slowly turned around the circle to see if I could walk away, but I was completely surrounded. And I didn't say anything. I didn't defend myself or anything like that. Thoughts came to my head like, it's the first time I've ever played kissing tag or whatever, but at the same time I was like, no, I'm not going to make excuses. I don't have, they don't care. They don't care about my excuses. Even at that age, I knew it. And so I decided I just had no choice and I was going to have to fight. And I was waiting for them to come at me, but they were just standing there and I didn't know how long this was going to take. So I just squared my shoulders, clenched my fists, and I just started to walk towards a gap between 2 people standing in the circle around me. And I thought, in my head, I visualized that as I tried to walk past these kids, they would grab me and they'd all start pounding me. And I was determined to take as many of them down as I could, or at least hurt someone while they were taking me down. Because previous to being the new kid at this school, I'd grown up in a pretty rough neighborhood and I knew how to scrap. But I didn't want to get in a fight and I didn't want to get beat up, but I just had a bad kind of attitude. Not bad, I think I just had an attitude of the kind of kid that grows up in that neighborhood with 2 younger brothers that I wrestled with and fought with all the time. So I was just going to do my best, go down fighting. And miraculously, the kids just stepped aside and let me walk out. And I did not expect that. And I walked all the way to the school, wishing to turn around, wanting to turn around and look back, but I did not look back. I just walked all the way to the school. And after that, I was a lot more cautious and careful on break, but I wasn't at that school for very long. I went to a lot of different schools as a kid, and that school I was only there, I think, for a few months. So it wasn't too bad. But what that experience showed me and taught me was that sometimes all you have to do is appear like you are not scared. And that is enough to get you through a situation. And so I used that so many times over my life. I used that when I went to the agents the first time when I was going to become a dancer. And I was very scared to go there and, stand in front of him. And I didn't know what he was going to get me to do. But all he did was just look at me and tell me what I needed to do to become a dancer. But, I walked into the club and worked for the first time. And, everything I've done, I've had to just push through the fear and pretend I'm not scared, even though I'm shaking, especially with these lives. I think every time we face a fear with courage and push ourselves through it and don't let our fear stop us, we become stronger. And that strength is so necessary. I can think of another time. I have 3 children. One is 1 years old or maybe under a year old. No, she was one. She was one. And I go in to the hospital for a surgery and I come out and I'm reacting to the morphine. I feel horrible. I have this big bandage on my neck. I look like shit. I feel like shit. And I have my ex over watching the kids because I was told I would need someone to be at home with me to help me for the first few days after the surgery. And he and I got in an argument, which was not unusual. We didn't agree on things. And I realized that it was more stressful for me to have him there than it would be just to face my fears and do it on my own. And so I sent him home. I went off the morphine. I went on some Tylenol and Advil just to deal with the pain. And I needed groceries. So I packed up the kids into the car and drove down and got groceries on my own. And I remember thinking as I'm walking through the grocery store, I was not groggy or anything because I was off the heavy medications, but I was just in pain and I was struggling and I had all these children and I was weary. And I just thought to myself, I can't believe how strong I am. I can't believe how strong I am. How do I, one thing after another, face it and conquer it? And it's a theme of my life to face my fears and face any confrontation. And I believe that it has made me a really strong person. And that's all I have for you today. So my advice is face your fears with courage and build that strength muscle. And I hope that I resonated with you today. I will be doing another live tomorrow and facing my fears again. Have a wonderful day.